This is Mid-Atlantic Women in Agriculture's Wednesday webinar, Developing a Farm Strategy. Our presenter today is Shannon Dill, Extension Educator for University of Maryland. All archived presentations, along with all upcoming presentations, can be found at our website. And a special thank you to our sponsor, Mid-Atlantic Farm Credit. Thanks for listening.
Developing a farm strategy is part of the business planning process, and we have this material listed on a couple websites that I'll share at the end. You can see here the extension.umd.edu/new-farmer. You can go on there and get some of the materials, and you'll see some worksheets that I referenced today. And this Developing a Farm Strategy is within the Farm Business Planning Workbook with University of Maryland Extension. I do have on the right-hand side under Files, if you would like to download either of those documents. One is the presentation of today. The other part is a little snippet on marketing research and some worksheets as well for marketing research, which is part of developing a farm strategy. So when you're looking at business planning, this is how we have them organized, how we have the different sections organized. And today, as you can see, will be under the farm strategy portion of a business plan. In looking at it, does anybody out there know exactly what they want to grow, sell, or service they want to offer? Sometimes it's hard deciding exactly what product and what venue and what your customer and who your customer is. But a farm strategy is a very important component of the business plan. The strategy includes steps focused on marketing segments, attributes of those segments, and forming a strategy around the needs of that market segment. It's not easy all the time, but it doesn't have to be hard either. There's a lot of information out there and a lot of tools to help you. So here are the 5 steps that we've put together, and we'll address each one of those in developing this farm strategy. And here you can see the framework, and this graphic really illustrates the process in developing that strategy. So you're kind of gathering information, you're going to dump it into the funnel, and hopefully after some analysis and some comparative work, you'll select a strategy, you'll implement it, and if you can see, it goes around and goes back into the funnel. So as you know, the business climate, the business environment, consumers are changing, so you'll always want to look at and reevaluate your business strategy. So let's move into step 1, gathering information and market research. This is probably my favorite. I think it's the most fun. You can go out, you can visit farms, you can visit stands, you can visit markets, you can do some sampling. This one, I think, hopefully you've probably already started some of this. Some farmers already know exactly what they want to do, how they're going to do it, and why. However, many farmers never take time to consider what the customer wants, why the customer wants it, or how the customer wants it done. Many of the same farms never consider why the product or service offerings wouldn't be sought after more than their competitors. So this market research will help with that. It will research your current and potential markets to identify the trends, the competitors, the needs, and ultimately your buyers or consumers. And then hopefully from that information, you can make a better strategic plan for your business. And never rely only on what your opinion of the market. So a lot of people will say, well, you know, I know people want this or customers want this. There are a number of tools that you should consider for your research. Those include, down here you can see focus groups, looking at maybe a small group of potential customers, and you ask them maybe specific questions about the product, the packaging, the pricing, or the service that you might be offering. Demographic information, I mean, information is all over, and now with using the web, there's even more availability of that, and you can look at consumers within radiuses of the markets that you are interested in. The U.S. Census is a great place to start. Many counties have a small business development or economic development, which has many of these demographics available. Some people use surveys, either written or oral, and I've participated in many farm market surveys where there's a little box and you can fill out a comment card and leave some information, and so those might be a way. And you can increase your response rate by offering an incentive like a coupon or a free product. Looking and observing, taking time to observe can be a very powerful tool. What are people buying, and what are your competitors offering? And then lastly, looking at interviews, maybe some one-on-one interviews. If you've got customers or people or friends of friends, you can talk to them a little bit about the product or the service that you're interested in offering. Moving forward a little bit with primary research, this is when you are talking directly about the product that you're looking at offering. So asking primary research is as simple as asking them about the product, or it can be as complex as surveys conducted by professional marketing firms. And I will tell you that grocery stores, national retailers, they spend an enormous amount of dollars in this primary research, wanting to know what their customer wants. Whether it's the scanning cards for, you know, when I check out at the grocery stores, every time I check out, they're logging what I've purchased, when I've purchased, and they have all my demographic information, so they know what I need. And I've always been interested in the coupons that come out, so I scan my card, and you know, out comes diapers when I needed diapers, and I haven't been getting diaper coupons forever because somehow that card knows what coupons, what I'm purchasing, and what I'm likely to purchase again. So again, farms aren't going to do that type of research. They're not going to spend that type of money. But looking at marketing and market research, that's out there, and they feel, the retailers feel that that's very important data for them to have. So some examples might be that more farms would use, again, we talked about some of these, about interviews, about observations, maybe about doing some short surveys or even some test marketing, and then as well as the behavior observation. We're going to spend a little bit of time talking about secondary research, and it's kind of interesting it's called secondary because I think it's primary research, or probably the first thing that you do when you're exploring a product is you go out on the web or the library and start gathering data. So secondary research, it's faster, it's less expensive than primary research, and it's as simple as going to the library or business center or browsing the internet. And so again, even though it's called secondary research, it's probably something we do first, is go out and browse and take a pulse of what's going on. And what it does is it utilizes information that's already out there. It's already available. This is one I always go back to when I do my my market research presentation, and I'm sorry about the citation. This is actually December of 2014. ConAgra Foods teams up every year. They do food trends. They put out 8 to 10 food trends each year that will be hot, that they're expecting to be hot. And you can see the 6 that are listed here. And these type of food trends are all over the place. There's lots of different experts in the area that do these forecasts. So you can see the 6 down here: snacking, grazing, Golden-Agers, people grocery shopping 24/7, smoked products, fermented foods. They're looking at always looking at the consumer and what the generations want. So even doing some market research on expectations of generations. So baby boomers expect something different than Gen Xers, than Gen Yers, and now they're talking about Gen Zers. So they feel like in 2015 the Generation Z is going to be influencing the food market. And then craft foods. So again, lots of very interesting data out there to catalog and to comb through. Secondary research, it looks at looking at that, localized figures might provide better information as local conditions might buck national trends. So while something might nationally be going on, it might not be an issue locally. So looking at newspapers and other local media is helpful. And again, there's many sources of secondary research material. There's census data, consumption, looking at local colleges, university data, trade and general business publications, and trade associations and government agencies. Again, lots of data that are out there. Just talking a little bit more about the customer. If you don't know your customer, then you don't know your business. And a friend of mine who does a lot of marketing talks about the first and best customer. And I find that talking with small farmers, they say, well, I'll sell to anybody. Well, yeah, but who's your first and best customer? Who comes back every time? And how can you tailor your product or your service to that person? And so when you're talking about a target market, who is going to end up being that first and best customer for you? What are the demographics of the area? Who's planning on buying the products based on price? What are the age ranges, males or females? Looking at, again, that demographic and that lifestyle data is very, very important. So again, that farm strategy, first and best customer. A little bit more on this step one. Again, I think this is one of the most exciting. It's kind of the information discovery. Little bit of, there is a difference between fads and trends. Fads are something people talk about. Trends are something people do. So looking at trends will help identify some niches. And the ideal niche must be large enough to be profitable, but small enough not to attract a lot of larger competitors. So be careful with the fads versus trends. And just some final thoughts in this area is to keep an electronic or printed folder. You know, if you see something you really like, print it off, put it in a market research folder, or create a bookmark on the site that you like. And I am so guilty of it that I will find something information that I really, really like, and I don't bookmark it, and I have a hard time going back through my history trying to find where I saw that data. So if it's something that you really, you like that information, be sure to bookmark it or to save it somehow. And it can be used as support documentation for your business plan for a lending application. They're going to want to see that you've done some market research. So citing demographics or statistics or studies is very helpful. So that's all I'm going to say in step one. Moving into step two is the SWOT analysis. And be interested in the chat pod if anybody has ever done or heard of a SWOT analysis and if they've ever done a SWOT analysis. It looks at the external and internal components of your business, and we've used a SWOT analysis for multiple projects I've been involved with through economic development, through our county, through our marketing with our county and industrial sites and local sites. So it looks at the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So what does that mean? Strengths and weaknesses are things that are internal to the business. So it's things that you can control. It might be financial resources, management capabilities, human resources, location, facilities, equipment, knowledge. I mean, maybe it's you've got assistance with taxes or record keeping, or you've got someone in your family that can do the internet or web-based work. So the strengths and weaknesses are an evaluation of what's internal to you as a business or as a farm. Looking at, oh, we have somebody that has done a SWOT. Great. Did you find it helpful? The threats and opportunities are things that are external. So it's looking at your competitors. It's looking at new and expanding markets. These are things that you can't control. So they're external to the business. Things like regulations, technology, and then just regular farm and consumer economics. So strengths and weaknesses are internal to the business. Threats and opportunities are external to the business, things you can't control. And most often, they are divided out like this in this four quadrants where you would complete and you would write those things in. And what we're looking at doing with this is identifying where the business could go. Looking at your strengths and looking at your opportunities together, you can help develop that strategy. You can look at your weaknesses and see, well, maybe we need to address some of these, and then looking at the external threats can help you make a plan for the future. So again, cataloging these, you'll see how some of them relate. Some of them, it might be a strength and a weakness sometimes, but going through a SWOT is extremely helpful in identifying internal and external issues to the business. Another part of the SWOT is looking at your competitors. Okay, again, those are external, right? And they could be opportunities. Maybe it's somebody that you could collaborate with, or maybe it's a threat. But a major focus should be an evaluation of the competition. And what you want to do is to chronicle all the businesses competing in a similar area, whether it's the product area or the geographic area as yours, and list who their main customers are. If you can estimate a possible market share that they have, what are they offering as far as products go? How are they pricing the products? And what do you think is their perceived marketing strategy? Are they trying to look at niche products? Are they marketing on the web? Are they doing direct marketing, wholesale marketing? So what is their perceived marketing strategy? And, in our book, I think we only have maybe 4 competitors listed. It might be less than that for your business. It might be more than that. But keeping an eye on your competitors. And I know a lot of people, especially people who sell meats, they're always looking at what the meat prices are, and they're comparing to grocery stores, to other smaller markets, and then to other farmers. All right, moving on to step 3 is, and if you remember, okay, so we've dumped the information into the funnel. Step 2 was in the funnel. Step 3 is still in the funnel. So you're trying to create alternative plans of action, and this is really where you start to pull things together. And I think this is where probably it gets more difficult, trying to decide and make decisions on your internal strengths, your external opportunities, and pulling together that plan of action. In the book, we talk about what is unique about your product or service. And that's important if you are a small farm. Generally, small farms lack economies of scale, and so you don't want to compete in a commodity market just on price. You need to have some perceived value. So what is that competitive advantage? Why should someone purchase that product from you, or why would they purchase from you as opposed to others? Is it quality? Is it convenience? Is it price? Is it the methods you're growing and your production practices? What will your consumers value? And then you want to list the various strategies that you could implement on the farm. So coming up with that information and making a list of strategies that you could have. And then hopefully with all of that information, you can select a plan that fits for your overall farm mission. At step 4, it's time to review the previous steps 1 to 3 and to start looking at a plan that best fits the overall farm business. Keep in mind the strengths and weaknesses, as well as opportunities and threats. Once again, you've got some other alternatives, and then you want to find the best strategy for you. And ask yourself, do you see yourself doing this in 5 to 10 years? Will this continue doing it? Can you see yourself? Can you see the business? The overall strategy is really derived from different marketing, production, financial, and management. What we talk about is that implementation plan. So after step 4 and looking at that, then it's a plan on how to get it done. So just to review, going back, it's the market research. It's looking at the alternative, the SWOT analysis. It's devising multiple actions. It's selecting an action, and then it's implementing that action. So at this point in the plan, you want to think about how you're going to get this done. Following the financial plan in the book, there is a section that focuses on implementation. It looks at marketing. It looks at production. It looks at human resources, not just what you're going to produce, but who's going to help you get that done. Is it just you? Is it family? Is it friends? Is it employees that you hire? And then just to review and evaluate your plan periodically. As you know, demographics, markets, competitors, and the SWOT may change over time. So as you update your plan, you will also want to kind of go through that and revise that farm strategy. And these are some resources that we have available. The first link at the top is the Maryland Rural Enterprise Development Center. It's got some farm business planning worksheets on there. It's got some case studies. If you want to look through and see what a farm strategy might look like, there are some case studies listed on there. We have the New Farmer website, as well as the 2 external links. Ag Plan is a business planning virtual site where you can go through and complete a plan, as well as this is the Maryland Small Business Development Center, and those are extremely helpful as well. My contact information is there. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to send you any of the materials or resources we have. And
thank you for watching our archived presentation of our Wednesday webinar. If you would like to see more archived Wednesday webinars, please visit our YouTube channel, or to find a schedule of upcoming live webinars, visit our website.